Hello Aquarius, and welcome to my channel Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs, looking at your connection to the person that you are dealing with and needing to learn the most from right now. We're looking at all three sides of the connection. We've got your energy toward it, their energy toward it, and the energy in between it. The concept being that there are three sides to every story. So we're looking at your version of the truth, their version of the truth, and this higher level unbiased truth in the middle. This middle section is looking at what is the deeper purpose of the connection and the best way for you to move forward in order to align further with your higher self. As I do in all of my readings, I've pulled the overall energy and clarified those messages, as well as the overall theme for the reading, which we'll jump into in just a second. But I still have a different tarot deck I'll be pulling from for each side of this connection, as well as the advice deck I'll be using to close out the reading in the extended. Any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading with me is in the description box below. Last thing, please remember that these are general readings. They are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone. So do please remember to take what does resonate and helps your personal situation and leave what does not. On that note, the whole reading can be reversed. If that is the case for you, that is totally fine and totally normal. Again, take what helps, leave what doesn't. All right, Aquarius, let's jump on your side of this connection. You have patience with like this little chest game here, and then you have the Four of Pentacles in reverse. I feel like this connection fell apart. What you were building with this person, it kind of came undone. Now with this patience card, I feel like I hear like your move, you know, like it's their move, like the ball is in their court. I don't really know necessarily what that means. I mean, I feel like it could be they walked away from the connection, or you know, they were the reason you had to walk away, and the only way that things would be able to be fixed is if they made a change or made a decision or something along those lines. Now, this person, they have unfinished business with the Five of Pentacles. So I do feel like this person feels a sense of loss when it comes to this connection, and they obviously feel as if there's unfinished business here. But the overall theme of the reading is pay attention to red flags. It says the signs are cautioning you. So I don't know. It's kind of like that, you know, love me well or leave me alone kind of theme, I feel like, where it's like, you know, sure, someone might miss you or, you know, want to be in your life, but are they willing to do what is necessary in order to treat you appropriately, you know, to show up for you in the ways that you were needing? I don't know. That love me well or leave me alone, I feel like is kind of the overall, like I said, like with this pay attention to red flags theme is, because in between this connection, you then have know your worth with a justice. So this is, you know, in order to get what we deserve in our relationships, in order to attract the kind of love that we're looking for, we have to know our worth on such a deep level. That's why I talk about it all the freaking time in these readings, is because our relationships with other people are a direct reflection of our relationship with ourselves and how much we value ourselves. We teach people how to treat us by what we accept from them, right? So if we accept other people mistreating us and we don't do anything about it, you know, there's typically this feeling of not feeling worthy. Now, I'm not saying that's your fault or that you deserve to be treated that way. Typically, we learn that we're not as worthy. We learn that we're not worthy through experiences that we've had in love to this point, you know, the ways that we've internalized our experiences. And though that doesn't mean that we aren't worthy, you know, we learn that and then accept less than what we deserve in relationships because we don't think we can have anything better. But that's just the overall energy. Let's jump on in. You have patience with the Four of Pentacles in reverse. I feel like the overall energy was a little bit more vague than usual. So let's see if we can dive a little deeper into this story. This is Aquarius' side of the connection to the person they are dealing with, needing to learn the most from right now. Aquarius' side of this connection. Queen of Swords. So here you are, right out of the gate, showing up in your own reading, whether you're male or female. The Lovers in reverse. Okay. This connection did end or doesn't. Like, or both. Like, treat you like you deserve. With the Lovers in reverse. This is a synergy of something not aligning with your worth. Which makes sense why I was talking so much about your worth at the very beginning. And I feel like you knew that. But I feel like you saw potential or, had strong feelings for this person. So you were like, well, maybe things will get better. Maybe they'll improve or go back to how they once were, whatever the case was. And I feel like maybe you tried to do that for a while, but then eventually things fell apart because that's not sustainable, right? That's not, being treated less or accepting less than what you deserve is eventually going to catch up with you because at the end of the day, you deserve more, right? And, maybe you spent time like waiting on this person to change or make a decision to choose you. I don't know. But I do know that for the majority of the time I feel like this is kind of the reason things fell apart. I feel like you weren't getting what it is that you deserved from this connection and from this person. Which is why I feel like there's this energy of like it's your move because I do feel like you were showing up as best as you could for them, but it didn't feel like that was maybe as reciprocated. Aquarius' side of this connection. There's the Devil. And you could be dealing with a fire sign, Leo, Aries, Sagittarius, but you definitely do not have to be. Because, there's this Devil here, this attachment. I feel like, you saw, like so much potential in this that you were like, I have to have that potential. Like this could be so good. Me and this person, we really connect or we have a lot of fun together. I don't know, whatever the case is. And it's almost like it made you a little bit, and we've all been there, but it made you a little bit blind to the fact that you were accepting less than what you deserve. Because I feel like there was so much of, like you were so focused on what it could be, or either what it could be or what it once was, that you were like, well, this is worth it. It's like you were like, this is worth it. It'll be worth it in the end. This is worth it. When we get here, when things change, or when this person, whatever. But then I feel like things ended up falling apart. Now, the Devil can also indicate codependency. Like an unhealthy, kind of codependent attachment. And that typically means that we're looking for, sorry, I have dog hair all over my face. We're looking for the other person to waiting for them to decide that we're valuable, that we're lovable. Because I feel like this connection made you feel not very lovable. Like it made you feel, it made you feel small or less than you are. Which is why accepting less than what we deserve for extended periods of time isn't sustainable, because it's going to start to chip away at our self-worth. It's going to start to make us wonder, why we're not being treated better, or why we're not deserving of more. When in reality, you are deserving of more. It just might be that the person that you're dealing with isn't capable or willing to give you more. So I don't know. I feel like there's definitely this energy of like, I'm not getting what I need, but I really, really want this to work. If I were to summarize that. All right, Aquarius' side of the connection. Want to come all the way out or hit the table. It was the Fool card, but oh, okay. Ooh. Sun in reverse, the Knight of Cups, and the Death in reverse. The Death in reverse is an indication that to me, like wanting something to change, but like in your way. So like wanting a relationship to improve by wanting the other person to change. You're like, I want the love that I deserve, but it has to happen this way, I guess is a good way of saying that. Because the sun in reverse is an indication that you aren't happy or weren't happy in this connection. Like didn't feel, not that like you didn't have moments of happiness, like because I certainly feel like you do, or else why the hell would you have invested in it? But I do feel like it feels like overall, maybe especially toward the end, it's almost as if it was like dimming your light or taking away from your happiness more than it was, adding to that. Because no one can sustainably make us happy. But certainly our relationship should add to or complement our happiness rather than take away from it. And I feel like with this Knight of Cups, I do feel like you had very strong feelings for this person, very strong emotional feelings. And I feel like that's why you were willing to go through so much. Because again, I still get this feeling of like it was worth it. But the Death in reverse is this indication that you were really wanting them to change or wanting something to change, but you didn't want to have to like walk away from the connection. Maybe you struggled with setting boundaries. And I feel like there's this energy of like waiting for this person to value you, waiting for them to treat you better, waiting for them to be better. Because then I feel like you were like, if they would just XYZ, then like things would be so good, or we would be so good, or things would be so, like we'd be happy. Then I'd be happy. But in the meantime, like I said, you are accepting so much less. So I'm going to keep going. My dogs are barking at something. All right. This person's energy toward Aquarius. So what exactly were you dealing with here, Aquarius? Unfinished business with the 5 of Pentacles. This person's energy toward Aquarius. It's like this person made you feel not good enough in a way. But I want to know why. Okay, yeah, I said not good enough. Okay, sorry. Feel like my intention was toward the wrong energy. Okay, this person, I saw that it was the Strength in reverse. Okay, this person's energy toward Aquarius. The Devil. You both have the Devil here. There's the Knight of Swords. Queen of Wands in reverse. It's kind of, okay. Okay, so there's definitely like a codependent aspect of this reading, an unhealthy attachment. Codependency is this idea of like, I need you to be something for me in order for me to feel good about myself. Like basically, I need you to love me in order for me to love me. And when we have a tendency to get into relationships that are codependent, they end up not being sustainable because our sense of self-worth and our sense of value depends on the other person's ability to make us feel valuable, and no one can make us feel valuable sustainably. So I feel like, I don't know, it's like things started out good, but then things became kind of like toxic, unhealthy. And I'm not going to say it was, just their fault or just your fault or anything like that. I think that it's, we can always fall into patterns of that sort. But I feel like it kind of turned into you trying to do whatever you needed to do to make them happy. But in the meantime, you not being happy. Your happiness not being a priority. What you wanted, what you needed not being a priority. It's almost like you came from this place of consistently prioritizing them and what it is that they were looking for in the connection. And then I feel like in return, like you didn't get that in return. And with the Knight of Swords here, I do very much feel as if this person, here's the way that I view this. It's like you gave so much to this connection until your cup, your well ran dry, until you were like, I don't have anything left to give. I can't give you anything else. I've given you my time, my energy, my love. You're not giving me much in return. Like, I don't have anything left to give. And then this person was like, well, since my sense of self-worth depends on how much you give me, I can't stay. It's like they ran because you didn't have anything left to give, which then made you feel, and I said they made you feel not good enough. It then made you feel like you weren't good enough because you're like, well, I gave everything I had and it wasn't enough. And that's typically what happens in codependent relationships, and or when there's like a codependent kind of dynamic. And I feel like I don't feel like anyone in this connection meant to hurt anyone. I don't. But I do feel like things, like the first thing that comes to mind is like got out of hand in a way. But let's keep going, because I mean, they do feel this sense of loss, but I feel like the biggest thing is like paying attention to red flags, like, right? Like, you can't just fall back into the same dynamic in this connection, because then the same thing is going to happen, right? Because your cup might be a little bit, fuller now, maybe since a separation or since you've had space or time or whatever, but eventually it's going to run dry again. Like, if you are the only one giving, the only one showing up, the only one trying to make this work. So it's like making sure, like, are you willing to do what it takes? Are you willing to reciprocate? Are you willing to work on yourself? Are you willing to, do the hard stuff? Like, are we in this together, or is this all falling on me? Like, I feel like that's what Spirit is asking you to, like, come from that place. Okay, this person's energy toward Aquarius. Nine of Swords, Eight of Swords. This person's really in their head. That's for sure. And I feel like, this person is pretty insecure. Now, maybe not outwardly. But I feel like that's why, when you're dealing with kind of the codependent dynamic, on both sides, both people are looking for validation of worth. And, there's usually a giver and there's usually a taker. And the giver is looking for a validation of their worth, is looking to be worthy because of the value they're providing the other person. But then the taker is looking for a validation of their worth through what they're receiving from the giver. So that's typically where you kind of get the giver, taker, the chaser, runner, and things of that nature. Is you have one person who's saying, I need you to see my value here, I'm going to give you as much as I can. And then you have the other person saying, I need to feel valued, give me as much as you can. And any healthy, sustainable relationship comes with a healthy give and take. So I'm not talking about like a connection where it's like you're giving a little more one day and then no, this is like a non-reciprocal, you're giving, they're taking kind of feel. And I feel like this person, they do struggle with insecurity in a way, with maybe not feeling good enough, or I don't know exactly what, this person's specific insecurities are. But I do feel like their insecurities were very much being projected into this connection. It's almost as if, like, the reasons that, I honestly feel like it was coming from both sides, though. Like, both people not feeling good enough, both people struggling to feel lovable, and just the dynamic became a little bit of a mess because maybe you started to feel more insecure, you started to get more defensive, or you started to pull back, which then made this person insecure because they're used to receiving so much of your energy, which caused them to pull back even more, which then caused you to come in because you felt them pulling away, and so you were trying to do what you could to make them stay or make them happy, which then caused this person to pull back even more because of and I just feel like, and I'm not saying that's exactly what went down, but it just feels like things kind of became a mess because both people were feeling insecure and not good enough for the other. Now, I'm not saying that that's an excuse, okay? Like, I don't want you to think that I'm saying, oh, feel bad for this person, they're insecure and they struggle with, because that's not what I'm saying. But, I think we should absolutely have empathy for where people are at, what they're going through, and try to understand other people and their perspective. But at the same time, not tolerate their behavior. And that's why I feel like you have pay attention to the red flags is, I do feel like you have strong feelings for this person and you care a lot about them. And so the empathy is probably, you probably empathize a lot with them. And that's why I feel like maybe you are willing to look past a few things, is because you're like, well, I understand them. Like, I get why they're coming from this place, or they've been through a lot, or whatever. But at the same time, you have to ask yourself, okay, those things might be true and I can have empathy for that, but am I also making sure that I'm protecting my own value and my own worth by not accepting so much less than what I deserve just because that's all they can give? Because you still, again, to get what you deserve in love, you've got to know your worth, right? But let me keep going. Okay, this person's energy toward Aquarius. So this person's energy is also very dark. I don't know if you know that. Every single card has black in it. So I feel like they're just kind of in, oh my gosh, yeah, literally every card. I feel like they're kind of just like in like a dark place, or just not in a good place. And, maybe, they're thinking, oh, well, things were so good when Aquarius was blah, blah, blah. But, you don't want the reason someone comes like to try to make something work to be because they're lonely or sad or whatever, right? It should be because they want to make something work. So I don't know. I feel like just be cautious in your connection with this person and understand that you can separate your empathy from them, but you can have empathy from them, but also stand up for what it is that you deserve. Because you do absolutely deserve what it is that you give, and you deserve what it is that you want when it comes to your relationships. All right, this person's energy toward Aquarius. I'm just laughing because it's another black card. The Tower. I just feel like this person is really struggling in their life right now. With the Tower, like it feels like it might just kind of be like one thing after another. They lost their job, and then this happened, and that happened, and then this, which, like, that sucks, right? Like, I'm not saying that's not something you should have empathy for, but at the same time, somebody going through something or like going through a lot or struggling in some way does not give them permission to treat you poorly. I hope that or to not treat you the way that you deserve, or to not be kind or loving in connections. Their life happens and people are always going through stuff. And sure, there might be times where, you're having to show up more for the other person, but then there should also be times where they're showing up for you too. And it feels like so much of this connection is about their problems and what they're struggling with and what they're going through and how they're feeling. And, and I feel like that's become the norm in the connection, to the extent where it's like, well, what about me? Like, I also have feelings. I also have needs. I also have desires. I also, I'm going through stuff. And I feel like that's why you have this, like, pay attention to red flags, is like, sure, maybe, this person feels there's unfinished business, or, they have this Five of Pentacles, they're feeling a sense of loss, they come back, they want to, but if they haven't done any work on themselves to be able to face the things that they need to face in order to be there for you too, in order to reciprocate that energy, then the same dynamic is going to happen, the same cycle is going to go down. So I just feel like, sure, the ball might be in their court, it's their decision, like all that. But, if this person isn't doing any work on themselves, things are just going to fall into the same pattern. Now, the same exact thing can happen on your side too here. Aquarius, if you don't do the work on yourself to address kind of this, your tendency to fall into this dynamic, then you're going to continue to get into connections, not even maybe with just this person, where you're always the giver, you're always prioritizing everyone else's needs, or there's relationships are always a reflection, and take it from someone who's been on this side and I've been on this side. Like, I get it, it's not easy, but I do think that when we recognize, because I used to be very anxiously attached in my relationships. I used to always, it was like I was anxious avoidant is what it came down to, but definitely more anxious than avoidant. And I would want the other person to be close, but then when they would start to feel close, I'd have these feelings of like feeling not good enough, or my fear of abandonment come up, and I would push them away, and then my avoidant attachment style would come out, and I would leave the other person going, what the hell is going on? So that's why I've kind of been on both sides, because I've had the anxious chasing giver energy, but then I've also had the avoidant runner taker energy. So I know what it's like to be on both sides, but at the end of the day, the core wounds that were causing me to act however I was acting were the same. And as I kind of healed and evolved past leading with my wounds and relationships, I was able to create a secure attachment. And that's something that I'm very, very grateful for, which attracted, a partner that shows up for me better than I even ever imagined. But, I feel like so much of the time we don't realize that the dynamic in our connection is going to essentially you're going to be able to predict the connection from the beginning with whatever the dynamic is. And the dynamic should be a healthy give and take, full of clear communication and honesty and vulnerability and openness and, willingness to grow and willingness to adapt and things of that nature. So if you're not getting that from them, and if they are just continue to kind of show up with the same old energy, that's where I feel like Spirit is saying, just make sure you don't dip back into a connection or dip back into a dynamic that is essentially going to provide you with the same outcome. In between this connection, you have Know Your Worth with the Justice here. We're going to hop on over to the extended. I'm going to pull messages looking at the deeper purpose of the connection and the best way for you to move forward in order to align further with your higher self. And then I have an advice card to pull at the very end. Thank you so much, Aquarius, as always, for your support of my channel. I do hope that this reading helped and resonated with you in a way that you are needing today. And as always, I wish you nothing but love and healing and all of the wonderful things that you deserve on your journey moving forward. All right, bye, Aquarius.